Professor Aris Thorne lived where the ancient forest met the whispering sea, his cottage a sanctuary of weathered wood and overflowing bookshelves, decades spent studying the delicate creatures of a night, particularly the elusive moths, had etched lines of wonder and quiet solitude onto his face. His greatest fascination lay not just in their ethereal beauty, but in the subtle, almost imperceptible shifts in their wingbeat patterns. He recorded thousands of hours, convinced these minute variations whispered secrets about the world beyond human senses. Tonight, the air hung heavy and still, thick with the scent of damp earth and salt. Pressing against the windows like a held breath, Aris sat amidst his instruments, the gentle thrum captured by sensitive microphones filling the small room, a familiar lullaby that usually soothed him, yet a profound restlessness stirred within his chest. A feeling as tangible as the humidity clinging to his skin, telling him the moths were speaking of something momentous approaching from the vast, unseen horizon. He adjusted the dials on his oscilloscope, the green lines dancing erratically. The wingbeats weren't just faster. They possessed a frantic, staccato quality head rarely documented, like tiny hearts pounding against an invisible threat. Years of data whispered comparisons in his mind, correlating similar patterns with distant atmospheric disturbances, but this intensity was unprecedented. He rose, his old bones protesting, and stepped onto the creaking porch. The forest was unnervingly silent. No chirping crickets, no rustling leaves, only the oppressive weight of the air and the distant, rhythmic sigh of the ocean high above. Through a break in the towering pines, the stars seemed to flicker nervously. Aris closed his eyes, listening not with his ears, but with the memory of the moth's agitation. He felt it then, not sound, but a deep, resonant tremor in the charged air, a silent herald carried on. Electromagnetic whispers only the most sensitive creatures could translate. A storm was coming, a true leviathan, still far over the sea but marching relentlessly towards the coast. Memories flooded him, unbidden and sharp. He saw Alara, his wife, her laughter like wind chimes, her face illuminated by the flickering light of a hurricane lamp. Decades ago, during a storm that had howled around their then young home, they had huddled together, listening to the fury outside, finding profound peace within their shared warmth. Her absence, even after all these years, was a quiet ache that never truly faded, a space beside him that the solitude of his research could never entirely fill. He remembered holding his infant granddaughter, Maya, during a summer thunderstorm, her tiny hand clutching his finger tightly as the thunder boomed, her wide eyes reflecting the lightning. She hadn't cried. She watched, fascinated, trusting completely in his embrace. The memory was a bittersweet balm and a sudden, sharp pang of longing. Maya, grown now and living in the bustling city far away, felt impossibly distant in this moment, charged with the storm's silent approach. Driven by an instinct deeper than scientific curiosity, Aris moved back inside. His hands, though aged, were steady as he picked up the old, corded telephone. A relic he kept for its reliability. He dialed Maya's number, the rotary dial clicking with deliberate slowness. The line crackled strangely, thick with static even before it connected, as if the approaching storm was already interfering with the miles of wires stretching towards the city. When Maya's sleepy voice finally answered, "Grandpa? Is everything okay? It's late." Aris felt a lump form in his throat. He spoke calmly, but with an urgency that cut through her drowsiness. "Maya, listen to me. A significant storm is coming, a big one. It's still hours out, over the ocean, but trust an old man and his moths. They know. Please prepare fill containers with water. Secure anything loose on the balcony. Charge your devices now." He heard the concern in her silence, then her resolve. "The moths. Really? Okay. Grandpa, okay. I trust you. I'll do it right now. Are you safe there?" Her care, echoing down the line through the static, warmed him more than any fire. As the connection faded, replaced by a rising hiss of interference, Aris returned to his vigil. He didn't need the oscilloscope anymore. He sat by the open window, the first cool tendrils of the storm's outflow finally brushing against his face, smelling sharply of ozone and open water. The wind began to speak, rustling the leaves with growing insistence, a prelude to the coming symphony high in the trees. He imagined the moths clinging, their delicate wings momentarily stilled, their extraordinary senses attuned to the colossal electrical symphony churning over the dark sea. He pictured Maya in her city apartment, moving with purpose, following his warning based on the silent language of insects. A profound sense of connection, fragile yet unbreakable, settled over him. It linked the frantic flutter of wings on his microphone, the distant, building rage of the storm, and the heartbeat of his granddaughter. Miles away, they were all bound by invisible threads, sensed by the moths, felt by the heart. The storm announced its arrival not with a sudden crash, but with a deepening, resonant growl that rolled continuously from the horizon, vibrating in the floorboards. Then came the rain, not drops, but a solid curtain of water unleashed upon the forest and the cottage roof. A relentless drumming that drowned out all other sound. Lightning fractured the sky, illuminating the world in stark, fleeting moments of blinding white, casting skeletal shadows of the thrashing trees. Thunder followed instantly, colossal detonations that shook the walls and rattled the jars on his shelves. Aris remained by the window, safe within the sturdy cottage he and Alara had built, watching the awesome, terrifying display. He felt no fear, only a deep reverence. This was the power the moths had sensed, the truth their wings had whispered. His thoughts flew to Maya, hoping she was safe, sheltered, perhaps even remembering childhood storms and feeling that same thread of connection pulling taut across the miles long after the storm's fiercest fury had passed, dwindling to a steady, soaking rain and occasional grumbles of thunder. A different sound pierced the downpour, the tentative crunch of tires on his wet gravel driveway. Headlights swept across the rain-lashed porch. Aris's heart leaped. He flung the door open just as Maya, wrapped in a bright yellow rain slicker, dashed through the deluge and into the cottage, breathless and dripping. "I came as soon as the worst passed the city," she exclaimed, pulling back her hood, her eyes wide with the remnants of adrenaline and relief. "You were right, Grandpa. It hit hard there too, but I was ready. Thanks to you and your moths." Aris enveloped her in a fierce, silent hug, the scent of rain and damp wool filling his senses. The frantic wingbeats had long since calmed, replaced by a soft, almost drowsy hum emanating from the speakers. The moths, sensing the storm's retreat, settling back into their quiet rhythm. Grandfather and granddaughter stood listening together, safe and dry. The delicate thrum-thrum-thrum was no longer a warning, but a gentle lullaby, a testament to the invisible threads that bind the smallest flutter of life to the vast, powerful heart of the world, and to the enduring connections of love that weather any storm. It sang of resilience, of unseen senses, and the quiet strength found in listening.